Welcome back to the Hellmouth, where we'll be digging deep on all things Buffy, Season 1, Episode 2, The Harvest. Now, after Buffy escapes out of her room with weapons in tow, we head to the Bronze. Now, at the Bronze, Jesse is in full predator mode. He stops Cordelia on the dance floor and forces her to dance. And I love this scene in slow-mo where Darla and the gang approach the Bronze, where Luke and the rest of them essentially take over. Wherein Buffy's plan is always centered around the save and not the kill, she devises a plan with the Scoobies to get all of the civilians out. Xander is still convinced that he can save his friend Jesse. Giles is adamant to communicate that it's not his friend Jesse that he will see, it's the demon that killed him. While everyone in the Bronze is held hostage, Luke the Vessel is able to feast on 2 patrons. When Buffy is finally able to sneak in, she comes from above. She takes the time, she assesses her surroundings, she evaluates her resources, and takes out one of the vamps who's controlling the lighting. These overhead lights are a good example of introducing an element that will pay off at the end. Buffy finally reveals herself when Cordelia is brought up by Darla as Luke's next sacrifice. And with an iconic move, she jumps down and takes out a vamp with a pool stick. While Buffy and Luke proceed to fight, Giles and the crew escort all innocent bystanders out of the building. While Buffy manages to knock Luke down, she notices that Xander is being attacked across the room. And in a super creative move, she uses one of the drum cymbals and uses it like a frisbee and decapitates the vampire. At this point, she has successfully saved Xander once again. And you can see in that moment, she's got a slight smirk. She's amused with herself, borderlining on cocky, but to the point where she is unfortunately distracted. And Luke gets the jump on her and attacks her from behind. In that beat with Luke, we see that Buffy's already juggling the responsibility of keeping her friends alive. And Xander still tries to appeal to Jesse's humanity. And finally, Darla is able to overtake Giles and knocks him to the ground. Willow uses the tools in her arsenal, which in this case is holy water, to defeat Darla. Now, Willow using holy water in this scene is a nod to the future resources that she'll use in the seasons. And it's important to note that Darla is only injured, she's not completely destroyed. She's smoking as she runs off, signaling that Darla's character will come back. Even when Xander holds the stake up to Jesse's chest, he still can't commit to taking him out. Jesse even goes as far as to taunt him, saying he doesn't have the guts. This new Jesse believes he's invincible, unstoppable. He even presses himself into the stake. A dare, a challenge, a mistake. Because then an innocent bystander pushes into Xander, and Xander ends up eliminating Jesse. And Jesse ends up being his own demise. He dusts himself. This is all on the heels of insulting his friend and his masculinity, where Jesse represents how fragile the line between man and beast can be. And while it's not Xander's choice to make the final blow, he experiences the loss of his friend in real time, and thus must actually accept this new reality. And this is the point where the skeptic of the group is enlightened. And while he's processing all of this, he gets swept up by 2 vamps. Can't even catch his own breath. He's still reeling from seeing his friend turn to literal dust. And this is where things start to come full circle. Buffy uses her wits against Luke and threatens Sunrise by busting a window. Now, she's done this after adjusting the lighting upstairs from that earlier scene, which gives her enough time to pick up her fallen stake. And this is another demonstration how every element has a bigger piece into the story. The upper balcony scene was not only her opportunity to assess, scope out, eliminate a vampire, and ultimately cause a distraction to allow the innocents to escape. It's a setup that fully pays off when Luke is killed because of it. Everything becomes full circle when Buffy defeats Luke by outsmarting him. Using her resources with the fake lighting, Buffy stakes Luke in the back, which is a direct reversal from when he sneaks up on her. Ultimately, the Master ends up losing connection, and the shield that's trapping him below remains, for now. As the Master's screaming out, "No!" we cut back to this shot of Buffy in her power stance. And you'll likely recognize this from the opening credits. And as we close in on her, the 2 vampires that are holding Xander immediately let go. They run away at the mere glance of a fully realized Slayer. It's in this moment that Buffy really realizes who she is, where she gains this level of confidence in recognizing her self-reliance. Her ability to protect is what she was meant to do. Chosen or not, it's Buffy's decisions that make Buffy who she is. A powerful woman who's in charge of her own destiny. And as those vampires run out of the Bronze, Angel walks up. His motives are unclear. Is he here to help Buffy or join the vampires? On top of, you're too late. Yet he seems proud that she did it, stopped the harvest. Yet him arriving late exaggerates the notion that Buffy will indeed fight darkness alone. But while help is welcome, it's she who must live her own life. In the grand scheme of things, understanding more about who Angel is, and in this moment, how critical this is to his character arc. Angel realizes by helping Buffy, whether that's giving her a cross necklace that she's going to wear all the time, warning her about the harvest itself, offering insight on how to navigate the tunnels, all played a role in helping stop the bad guys and the Master, and thus he too helped stop them. To him, this means that the path to redemption is in fact possible, and his destiny will be intertwined with Buffy's. And in that moment when the vampires are running out, Angel walks up and says, "She did it. I'll be damned." You'll see that it actually says, "Watch your step" behind him. Not only is this foreshadowing, everything in this scene and in this beat is literal once you learn more about his story. The Scoobies hang back at the Bronze and worry that supernatural creatures and the horror of that reality is going to cripple the town. They think this is a huge revelation. The lid has been popped open. But we don't linger on that notion for long. Instead, the next day and the next shot, we're back at Sunnydale High School like nothing happened. It's bright, it's sunny, everything's protected. Cordelia chalks it up to gang activity because rationalizing is easier. Giles reminds them that there's more doom to come, but the tone of his delivery is not doom and gloom, but rather with the acceptance that this is how it is, where he ironically and famously says, "The earth is doomed." With a charm that communicates it's anything but, it's said lovingly, the fate of the world is on their shoulders. Although ignorance is bliss, Buffy and the Scoobies won't live in that luxury, nor do they want to. And in another small detail about foreshadowing, Willow actually mentioned something about how blowing up the school is frowned upon. And if you've seen the series, you'll know how that comes into play in season 3. Stay tuned and follow for more Buffy Dig Deeps, where we'll go beat by beat, episode to episode, every season,